Good morning, everyone. All right. So we got some breakouts. We got, for some markets, clear air or voids up above. And after this multi-week, I think it's a couple of week resting period, they're supposed to go up, black and white. They're not supposed to come back down here. So at the moment, as you can see, they're filling the gap. Not a big deal. On top of minor support, you can see as my cursor moves there, filling the gap, not quite on top of the support level over there. Might come down to it, and buyers should show up there. It's black and white. That's the way it's supposed to work. Doesn't mean it always works that way, but that's the way it's supposed to work. Especially with this structure, I'll say a structure of price action like this. Essentially, well, as prices went up, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, I guess, about the momentum and momentum slowing. So over here, there was a resting period, correction through time. And that's normal, very normal after, the move started. This is the beginning of 2024. You had the big move from the October low over here. You can see on the weekly chart. And then the little resting period, that cursor moving along the weekly chart there. And you had the red bar ignored and continuation bullish 180 over here on the weekly. And that bar, you can move along here. There was a little dip there and another 180 right there. So chopped around for a week, gapped up. All right, a one day move. And now chopped around for, I guess, 2 weeks, give or take, maybe a little bit more. So after this consolidation period of uncertainty, what's the Fed going to do? What's happening here, there, all the little worries, it creates a support point. And what created resistance creates support, right? So the pivot highs and pivot lows are. Prices break out. So after that consolidation, now chart says uncertainty is over. Continue to buy the dip. How high is it going to go? We look at SPX. You look at whole numbers, which we'll take a look at. The fib aficionados will have their fib extensions. Some people will have channels, and all of that is relatively meaningless unless you're looking at it and it creates some type of belief that something's going to happen there. So that's a personal thing. What happens, we all just see regardless. All right, so strength, and let's talk about this before we look at the other things. Some interesting things that have been occurring. So on Friday, if you follow the news, we know what happened over in Russia there. There's all kinds of turmoil going on around the world. It's a screwed up place, this world. It just goes a little more so lately. But look at this put call ratio. An excessive amount, well, it's excessive or not, we'll see as things go on, amount of bearish bets into the close on Friday. One of the things I wrote about in the newsletter was, all right, maybe something's going to happen, maybe nothing's going to happen. But with an extreme put call ratio like that into the close, somebody thought there was something to worry about, to be concerned, hedge their longs, whatever their reasoning is. Now, if nothing happens, a lot of times, especially these are going to be, I don't know the expiration of all of these. I'd have to go and look. But if they're expiring this week, whatever day this week, and we don't get any kind of economic or geopolitical turmoil, those options being unwound can help drive the markets higher. When, what day, what hour, I don't know. I just take notice of information that occurs, and okay, that's something that could create a scenario. Let's see what happens. Now, with that happening, we see the total put call ratio and the equity put call ratio coming down into bullish territory. The equity is into these bands. This one isn't. And that could be a positive thing where bearish sentiment as prices are going up, the old saying, the market climbs a world of worry, however that goes, wall of worry. That could be a positive sign. Breath has just been pretty crap during this advance, but this is what we call a self-correcting uptrend. So not too unusual, but now that we've got this breakout, what we should see, and I'm disregarding all the economic news coming in the latter part of the week, which could turn out to be positive, this should and possibly accelerate higher, which would push this breath, up. So kind of confusing, a little confusing as far as these internals being out of sync, markets moving up. The trend's been going on for quite a while. I don't know, historically, like one red bar, no correction for this amount of time. How long can the market go without some kind of pullback? Anyway, another thing to take notice of is that 3-week consolidation, right there, and breakout has now created an area that's critical not to violate. At a resting period, breakout, it's not supposed to come down here, black and white. So if you see that happen, you don't need any indicators, Chikumi clouds, any measurements to know something's wrong. Right now, let's just say everything is right as far as we're looking at this chart. So should keep going up. SPX, followed along, same chart, same breakout, same consolidation, of course. There's some unfilled gaps, major support, minor support, all the same. Things are into the gap fill, give or take, just like, well, we can't see where it's trading here, but that's what's happening. Down a little bit, just check these numbers. 75, that's good. Markets come down a little bit. The premium here should increase. And by no means should it come down here today. Doesn't mean it can't, just shouldn't, because it shouldn't come down that far after this move, coming into the gap fill, maybe on top of that pivot in the middle of this green bar, give or take, buyers 5,200, all right? Just put your line on 5,200 being the whole number. It should hold there. Again, pivot is close. It's a whole number. There's an unfilled gap. Your lines of defense, as I like to call it, before your strike. And of course, the strike is on top of minor support. So look, unless some bomb goes off somewhere in the world or, things that are just unknown, so you can't really even think about those things as a risk on any given day. It's not like an earnings report. It should hold here. That's normal. And as far as going back up, it probably needs some resting. But look, I think maybe what's been happening lately with these economic reports that have been coming out is that the market goes up into them. That's what we've seen. So a down morning this morning is good, coming down onto some support. And then we see maybe it goes up into Thursday morning. Well, let's see. All right. Transports joined the party. Great. They're at the top of the range. So they're likely to consolidate here. That's one measure to suggest that this is one market that isn't going to move up a whole heck of a lot right now. Now, this is interesting. We talked about it last week. Interest rates went up into the Fed meeting. Okay. And the markets held up. That was a positive. They ignored a negative event that was happening. And now they've pulled back to these converging moving averages. And these overlapping bars should act like some support. And so we'll see how this plays out this week as far as interest rates. This week could be a pretty important week, not only economic news, but just how things are lined up here, that things are getting tighter. Some things are getting tighter. Some positive things have happened, some questionable things, but markets are up a whole lot. At some point, we all know that they're going to correct through price lower than through sideways time as they have been. Maybe this is the week. We'll just see how it plays out. Qs did not clear the highs. Tech has been lagging a bit. We talked about a week or two ago, this head and shoulders pattern that was forming. We talked about what happens if they're negated, which that's what happened, and this should lead to higher prices. Now, got significant support again, consolidation, multiple bar move up. So we've got a little bit of a range expansion bar there, but still within this big consolidation. Essentially, as you look at this, you've got a consolidation and another consolidation. You got two consolidations there. One, that didn't lead to a significant move higher. And now we got another consolidation. Now, of course, all eyes are, will it break out? Will everything start to fire on all cylinders and, tech join the S&Ps and, of course, the Dow, which broke out and above here, range expansion bar. Now, right at 40,000, what I'll be watching for this week. And when I see patterns, it makes me think as to what should happen, but what are a possibility when I see this pattern. So a pattern like this, I see this little bottoming tail bar that breaks under the lows. The only thought that comes to mind is, while it's extended, that's a correction bar. It should go higher. When I see this bar in a consolidation and there was no correction bar and it breaks out and it's got a minor topping tail bar, is if we get an inside week, which will take a whole another week to find out if that's what happens, it could be a breakout bar failure. And we won't know that for a while. So we'll see. I'm just sharing these thoughts and we'll see how they play out in the coming weeks. Or it could just move up, see if it gets through 40,000. Again, I'm just repeating that after resting periods like this, they're not supposed to correct very much. Down a little bit and higher. Common sense. Russell's been a mess. Another topping pattern. It held, ripped right back up again. And it's at the bottom of the red bar. Not a big deal, just overall a pretty messy pattern. Retailing we've been talking about this, looks great. Still looks good. Nice little rounding bottom. Broke out, should continue to go higher. Mid caps look good. Pulled back to the 20. Momentum stalled after just taking out the pivot high. Pattern that should occur like this is it shouldn't rest too much. Like today, potentially should be a green bar and it should continue higher. Shouldn't pull back to the 20. SMHs pulled back, right? They led the way up, big nasty red bar, pulled back. This should hold up. It should go higher. Technology, consolidating, everything gapping down a little bit, middle of the range, not a big deal. Let's see if buyers step up and turn it into a green bar. They buy the dip. Now, financials, I thought was, these things have been so strong. Self-correcting uptrend, barely pulled back. Bars about equal in range. Such a bullish trend. What happened on Friday to have such a big red bar like that? And look at the weekly bar. And look at all this consolidation there. Really, really important for this to hold this area. Well, we shall see. There was a bunch of different exchanges came down pretty hard. You can take a look within the sector. Regional banks, just overall pretty darn messy, but they came in pretty hard on Friday. Now, here's something really interesting again. And let me just go to the quick so I can hand it over to Dan. Wait here. 13-week came down. It's got this head and shoulders pattern. Last few weeks, we talked about why, they were going up, coming down, erratic as to, is the Fed going to rate lower interest rates? What are they going to do? So look, these things should break down. As this economic news comes out at the end of the week, assuming it's favorable, this should move lower. The 10-year should move lower. As short-term interest rates come down, why is the dollar going up and moving above these highs? I don't know, but it is. So it's something else that sometimes these intermarket relationships, they don't line up or move exactly how historically that they do. So I thought that was interesting that the dollar actually moved up as it did last week. And of course, that gold down a little bit. The dollar's down a little bit this morning. Crude oil, that broke out. What's going on? Ukraine, Israel, killing people in Russia, terrorists, whoever it was, whether it was Ukraine or whatever, kind of uncertain what's happening in the news. But anyway, things flare up there. Oil, that's another thing to keep an eye on. Just set an alert. I mean, if oil's breaking up above these highs here, there's going to be inflation concerns. So just set some alerts. You don't have to stare at it. It's pulling back. What was resistance should become support. It's sitting on to support. Buyers should show up here. Gold's up a little bit. Silver, you can see, is up a little bit. Nothing significant happening there. Things of significance that is weird. Agriculture. If you remember when this whole inflation thing started, this thing was ripping and everybody was concerned in inflation. Now nobody's talking about it. It's gapping up this morning. It continues to trend higher. Commodities are trending higher. Oil is starting to break out. So, bit of uncertainty. Whatever else, copper's been going up. Steel looks like it's going to go up. Is it just an economic expansion that's coming while all this debt is piling up on people? Not sure. But right now, most markets say they're supposed to go up. So we'll see what plays out this week. All yours, Dan.
Good morning, happy Monday. We have a shortened week here with a good Friday. Equity markets closed. So nothing to do with earnings here today, but a couple of news items. Go through as many as I can on our bullish watch list. Check any alarms going on. Let's see what Raul has for us first. Martin short. I'm sure. Sell setup in a downtrend. Parallel 20 and 50. Sure. Martin, I'll set an alarm 1805. I don't see any prints. Greg mentioned Ether. I had a little up alarm on Ether go up. We're looking for a retest. ATI alarm. Gapping over the 2-week bullish turn. Myrna, same 2-week bullish turn. And I love this bottoming tail that made a new low and then came back. We sometimes would call this the buy setup second time around, even though the buy setup failed. It's just, a little deeper into support. And then went sideways 2 days. Now it's gapping up. So that looks great. Maybe 10, 15-minute high. I just had a YMM alarm go off. I think this is either Sam or Alex. Full Truck Alliance. It's a sloppy buy setup, but I like Friday's close. Greg mentioned Hershey in his monthly video, in his weekend video. So nice bottoming pattern on the weekly. So now we just need our entry on the daily. I saw on the news that Carnival had a ship catch on fire this weekend. So what do? Pull up the chart. You know, hope nobody got hurt, but I don't care about their fire. I just want to see what happened to the stock. And the stock's gapping up on bad news. So that's bullish with this wide range igniting from a bottoming pattern. Has earnings on Wednesday, so we cannot do a directional trade. So I said, all right, I'll take the earnings risk. Let's sell $16 put. Other cruise ships are doing fine. Look at RCL ripping. We are in this one, NCLH, and that's gapping up. So leisure has been very strong. Look at away. We're in this in our ETF letter. Cruise obviously is a cruise ships, looks very similar to away. We should let's watch these hotels because they're obviously part of leisure. Let me set an alarm. 256 on Marriott, which hopefully should not trigger in today's gap down. Yeah, the three P's. I always look at Marriott. I had Hilton. Look at that. Bullish as can be starting on this breakout here. Amazing. And I'm going to the Keys this weekend. And go check hotel prices. I don't know, they're crazy what people are paying. So, Greg's talking about the consumer being broke. Well, they're sure spending money on hotels, I'll tell you that. All right, so I guess that's all my gappers. I don't have any alarms on open positions. Let's just see what I got down here. So there's Martin. Oh, Boeing. Oh, we nailed this thing last week on a gap down when they announced that, oh yeah, we're going to lose 4.5 billion next quarter. And I was talking about the weekly chart here, 176 major support. And that's exactly where it turned. It negated the gap on bearish news. And look at that. That's how you trade news. Fading the implication of the news with a confirming chart. Alex mentioned LSID here, gap and a resistance, but it's a retest on the weekly. Sloppy retest. This Wednesday, we'll be talking about Climos and retest. Exactly what this is. Exactly, on the weekly, a Climo and a retest. So that, I'm not going to rush into it, but it's worth watching, sure. On Sky West, an airline. This could be a red bar ignore continuation pattern. ELF is it's a big bull flag. You can kind of see it better here on the weekly. Here's your big flagpole. Actually, you had two of them. This was a bull flag. And now here's a second bull flag. So I set an alarm. Fergie. This was a great bottoming pattern on Thursday and Friday. I did not see it. I just saw the gap up today, so it's too extended now. KMX and the resistance. I'm not sure what trade you're talking about, Don. It's not jumping out at me. Sam has this as a short idea. Yeah, it's down a lot, but I like Thursday's breakout failure. Gapping down here to 34.35. So yeah, this is definitely maybe 30-minute low, short idea. Here's a sloppy sell setup. Gapping down a little bit, 30-minute low, short idea. I think that's Alex list or Sam. AA broke out, 2 bar consolidation. I'm just not sure about the reward to risk on this one, but weekly, monthly are bottoming. Alcoa metal has been strong. We had a nice trade on Stove last week. There's that YMM alarm. Snap bottoming pattern. Let me set an alarm 11:45 for now. This would be a great put spread on the $11 or lower. If there's any juice, I'm not going to look now because I'm busy. But I'll look if the alarm goes off, unless one of you want to look right now. Now, this is not a sell setup the way we define sell setups and downtrends, but it's a nice reversal at the gap fill at the 20. So, call it what you want. This was on Alex's list. I like it. I set an alarm at 89.50. Well, let me set it on the old computer too. And that would be, I think the gap down was a secondary offering. Not that it really matters. But that would be a great call spread also. 89.50 alarm. Alex had Ford on his list. Come on, internet. What the heck? All right. Ford. Look, daily, weekly, monthly. There's I wouldn't enter here after such a big run at resistance. Ideally, it goes sideways for 3 more days of chopping around. And then we buy a breakout with a stop under the inside bars. What's this cousin doing? GM broke out. Look at this 1, 2, 3 after the bear sandwich. How did we miss that? That was a no-brainer trade right there. Y'all see that? Bear sandwich, 1, 2, 3, rising 20, 50, 200. That was beautiful. CCCS, it's a floppy buy setup and needs to get over these. I think I set an alarm at 12:07. All right, let me go through alarms. Snap alarm, SYY alarm, we're already in it. It's been a laggard, but the fact that it's gapping up in a weak market is good. I'll set a new alarm, 81.40. Wing alarm. Wing alarm. Nice turn. It's like a small inverse head and shoulder. All right, snap. I'm glad it got rejected. I'll set a new alarm, 11:50. Target up alarm. We are nice moving target in a weak market. We have long calls. Sam, is Sam here? MODG alarm. Sam, I am. That's yours.
Arm cleared some highs. You might want to do a call spread. I'll wait for this to set up directionally since it's at
Who?
resistance. ARM, ARM.
Yeah, that'd be a good put spread. Car alarm. Yeah, I gotta focus on my alarms here. But yeah, arm ripping here. This would be a great put spread. Let there be juice, 133 or lower. There is juice, but it's too spready. I remember this thing I think has burned us before. DXCM alarm. Um, DXCM, we were doing I think a naked put idea, MU added a car, we're doing a put or put spread, I forget. Yeah, I forget. Look at the weekend runner. All right, target. Let me reset the alarm. I think the day's low. Car 169.68. Target. A UNH alarm. We had a call spread. Target, we have the 167.5 calls. Oh, they're spreading. Beautiful. Moving target. Look at that 5-minute bar. Bar. See what the trade is. Tesla bounced from the gap down. Most all the things are weak except Tesla bounced. Our car, we're going to do the 112.107. And we're not getting filled. So just let it play out. UNH, we had 497.502. Midpoint 81. So UNH is a go. UBS alarm. I don't remember him. Um, I think that was Sam's list. Merck. Yeah, I like that. Little inverse head and shoulder. Yeah,